Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission (NUPRC) says it is committed towards ensuring an enabling environment for growth and investment in the oil and gas industry. The Commission Chief Executive Engineer Gbenga Komolafe said this at the third phase of consultation with stakeholders on draft regulations in Abuja. Komolafe said drafting key policies necessitated by the Petroleum Industry Act (PIA) is important as it will help industry operators align their operations with the Act. FCT correspondent Naomi Oleribe has details.
2021, the Petroleum Industry Act (PIA) was signed into law. The Act seeks to provide legal, governance, regulatory and fiscal framework for the Nigerian petroleum industry. Speaking at the meeting, the Commission's Chief Executive Engineer Gbenga Komolafe, who was represented by Dr. Habib Nuhu, Executive Commissioner, Development and Production, NUPRC, said the key policies will help facilitate Nigeria's economic development by attracting and creating investment opportunities for local and international investors.
It's basically for the Commission to fulfill its regulatory obligations enshrined by the PIA. If you recall, Section 216 of the Petroleum Industry Act mandates the Commission that every regulation that the Commission is going to put on the table for the industry, it must be subjected to stakeholders' buy-in. So principally and primarily, this engagement is designed basically to provide that opportunity where the 5 draft regulations were basically developed are now going to be subjected to stakeholder engagement. At least we can have a feedback mechanism where we listen to what are the inputs, what are the propositions, what are the potential amendments that industry players and other stakeholders would like to basically to be captured in the regulation.
Dr. Kelechi Ofebu, Executive Commissioner, Economic Regulation and Strategic Planning, NUPRC, said these regulations are designed to improve transparency profile of the Commission.
So what we are doing today is consulting with the stakeholders in line with the provisions of the PIA 2021. As soon as this is done and we fine-tune the provisions of the regulations, we will send to Ministry of Justice to gazette, to fine-tune and to gazette. Once it is gazetted, it becomes law, and that's when it starts being operationalized.
On crude oil theft, Dr. Kelechi Ofebu said key policies will be developed to monitor vessels that are entering the country and the quantity of crude oil taken in each vessel.
So we complain about crude theft. We know that our crude somehow is stolen and makes its way to the international market, and we ask ourselves, how? How is that possible that vessels come into our shores, within our waters, or even around our territorial waters, load crude, and we have absolutely no inkling as to how this has happened? So these regulations are meant to give us that capability, that capacity to say we have to understand the DNA, what we call the DNA of every vessel that's coming in to our shores or to our waters to load our crude. We need to know where you're coming from. We need to know where you're going to, what crude you're loading, from which asset you're loading, the quantity of the crude, the destination of the crude, the refinery that's supposed to refine the crude, and even when you outturn at the other end, we want to know exactly how much you outturned at the other end. So we will stay in the comfort of our offices in Abuja and electronically monitor the process.
The 5 draft regulations include Upstream Petroleum Measurement Regulations, Advanced Cargo Declaration Regulation, Significant Discovery Regulation, Gas Flaring, Venting and Methane Emission Regulations, and Domestic Crude Oil Supply Obligation Regulations. From the nation's capital, Naomi Oleribe, ABN News.